Attention passionate Philadelphia, EAGLES FANS. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Philadelphia Eagles' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Philadelphia Eagles fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Philadelphia, EAGLES FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been paying attention to the NFL rumors swirling around this summer, you already know that the Philadelphia Eagles are at the center of some very interesting potential moves, especially when it comes to their offense. And let me tell you, there's some real potential here. Some whispers that could reshape how the Eagles approach the season, and perhaps their future for years to come. You see, the Eagles, as we all know, had a fantastic 2022 season, one that ended with a trip to the playoffs and a lot of hope for what's ahead. But even with that success, there's always room for improvement, especially when it comes to giving Jalen Hurts the weapons he needs to truly elevate this offense to the next level. Now, one of the key areas that Eagles fans have been vocal about is the need for more pass-catching talent. We saw glimpses of what Dallas Goedert can do, especially after his return from injury, but everyone knows that adding more firepower, especially at the tight end position or even at wide receiver, could make a huge difference. And that's where the latest rumors come into play. According to some NFL insiders and reports from ESPN, the Eagles are now being seriously mentioned as a potential destination for one of the most intriguing tight end prospects in recent years, Kyle Pitts. Yes, you heard that right. Pitts, the former first-round pick of the Atlanta Falcons, a player with enormous potential, maybe not fully realized yet, but certainly capable of changing the dynamics of any offense he joins. Now let's back up a bit and talk about Pitts himself, because honestly his journey has been quite a roller coaster. Coming out of Florida in 2021, he was hyped as one of the most talented tight ends in college football history. His athleticism, size, agility, and hands made him a matchup nightmare at the college level. When Atlanta selected him 4th overall, it was seen as a bold move, a sign that they believed he could be a transformative player. And in his rookie season, he certainly showed flashes of that potential. Catching 68 passes for over 1,000 yards and a touchdown, Pitts looked like a future star. But then, things started to plateau. His production dipped, and his touchdown numbers, which were expected to skyrocket, remained minimal. Since his rookie year, Pitts has struggled to top 60 catches and hasn't come close to his yardage totals from 2021. And that's what's prompting some NFL analysts, including those from ESPN, to suggest that the Falcons might be ready to move on. Why? Well, because Pitts hasn't quite lived up to his draft billing, and Atlanta might be exploring trade options to recoup some value before his rookie contract expires. As Aaron Schatz and other analysts have pointed out, Pitts hasn't matched those early expectations, and the Falcons are probably considering their options, especially with a new regime or a different offensive philosophy potentially on the horizon. The fact is, the Falcons' coaching staff and front office are likely to evaluate whether they see Pitts as part of their long-term plans, especially as he's been dealing with injuries this summer, which is always a red flag. That brings us to the interesting part. The Eagles, with their current roster, could be a very appealing destination for Pitts. Now, I know, some fans might be skeptical or even concerned about adding another big-name player to an already talented offense, but hear me out. The Eagles, under head coach Nick Sirianni and offensive coordinator Shane Steichen, have shown that they're not afraid to get creative with their personnel. Jalen Hurts' development has been remarkable, and his ability to extend plays and make things happen with his legs has kept defenses honest. But to truly unlock his full potential, he needs more options, especially at tight end. Dallas Goedert has been excellent, a reliable target with great hands and route running, but as he's now in his 30s, the team might be looking at the future, and Pitts, with his size, speed, and mismatched athleticism, could be a game-changer. Imagine a scenario where Pitts lines up alongside Goedert, creating mismatches all over the field, forcing defenses to pick their poison. The Eagles have been known for their versatility, and adding a dynamic player like Pitts could give them a new dimension, especially in the red zone and on big play opportunities. And let's not forget, the Eagles' offense has been evolving, incorporating more RPOs, quick passes, and creative schemes to maximize their talent. Pitt's ability to stretch the field and create after the catch fits perfectly into that mold. Now, I want to pause here for a second. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUB algorithm to keep recommending the latest Philadelphia Eagles news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. But of course, nothing is ever that simple in the NFL, especially when it comes to trades and roster moves. For starters, Pitts is currently dealing with an injury, which makes things a little more complicated. According to Falcons head coach Raheem Morris, they're being very cautious with him this summer, not rushing him back onto the field. While that's standard procedure with any injury-prone player, it does raise questions about his availability early in the season. Plus, Atlanta's front office will have to weigh whether the potential return on a trade outweighs the risk of him not being fully healthy when the season starts. And let's not forget, other teams are also interested, or at least monitoring the situation. New York Jets, for example, are mentioned as a potential landing spot for Pitts, especially considering they're building a very competitive roster around young quarterback Zach Wilson. The Jets could see Pitts as a perfect complement to their offense, adding another dimension to their passing game. The Giants, too, have been looking to upgrade at tight end, and with their offensive scheme, Pitts' skill set could thrive in East Rutherford. But the most intriguing possibility, at least in our eyes, is the Eagles. Why? Because they have the draft capital, the cap space, and the desire to push their offense to new heights. The Eagles' front office has been strategic in building this roster. They've added key pieces through the draft, free agency, and smart trades. Their defense is solid, but everyone knows that in today's NFL, having a dynamic, explosive offense is what separates good teams from great ones. And adding a talent like Kyle Pitts could be the final piece that makes the Eagles' offense nearly unstoppable. Think about the possibilities: Hurts rolling out of the pocket, throwing a deep ball to Pitts, or running a quick slant where Pitts' speed turns a simple catch into a big gain. The mental matchup problems this could create for defenses would be enormous. Of course, all of this hinges on a few factors: the trade price, Pitts' health, and whether the Falcons are truly willing to part ways. Given his potential, it's unlikely the Falcons will give him away cheaply, and the Eagles would need to weigh whether a trade fits their immediate needs and future plans. Still, the possibility is exciting. It's the kind of move that could shift the division power dynamics, not just for this season, but for the next few years. The Eagles are clearly in a championship window, and if they can bring in a player with Pitts' upside, it could be the kind of move that elevates them from playoff contenders to Super Bowl favorites. Now, it's worth mentioning that the NFL is a league of fits and starts, of surprises and strategic gambles. The Eagles have shown that they're not afraid to make bold moves, whether it's trading up in the draft, signing key free agents, or making trades mid-season. Their recent draft picks and the way they've developed young talent show that they're building something sustainable. So, if the front office does decide to pursue Pitts, it wouldn't be out of character for them. It would be a calculated risk, one that could pay huge dividends if everything falls into place. And while it's easy to get caught up in the excitement of potential trades, remember that the Eagles are also focused on their current roster and the upcoming season. They've added depth on defense, re-signed key players, and seem poised to make a serious run. But adding a player like Pitts could give them that extra gear, that game-breaking element that turns good teams into great ones. It's about maximizing Jalen Hurts' talents and giving him more options, more mismatches, and more opportunities to excel. So, as we watch the offseason unfold, keep an eye on how the Eagles' front office maneuvers. Will they make a splash and add a weapon that could redefine their offense? Or will they stick with what they have and look for other ways to improve? Either way, the buzz surrounding Pitts and the Eagles is only going to grow. And honestly, as fans, that's exactly the kind of excitement we live for. The NFL offseason is full of rumors, potential moves, and surprises, and this one, whether it materializes or not, has the potential to be one of the most talked about topics of the year. And finally, let's talk about what this means for the NFC East. Because, folks, the division is hotly contested, and every team is looking to make a splash. The Cowboys are always in the mix, The Giants are on the rise, and the Commanders are trying to find consistency. But if the Eagles manage to land a player like Pitts, it could tip the scales in their favor and make them a clear frontrunner. The NFC East has a long history of fierce rivalry, and adding a dynamic weapon like Pitts would just add fuel to the fire. It would send a message that the Eagles are not just content with being playoff contenders, but are serious about dominating the division and making a deep playoff run. In conclusion, the rumors swirling around Kyle Pitts and the Eagles are more than just idle chatter. They're a reflection of how aggressive and ambitious this team is. The front office, led by Howie Roseman, has never been shy about pulling the trigger on bold moves, and the potential fit with Pitts makes a lot of sense. If they can navigate the injury concerns and come to an agreement with Atlanta, we might be looking at a seismic shift in the NFC East landscape. It's an exciting time to be an Eagles fan, and I think we all can agree that the upcoming season could be one of the most thrilling in recent memory. And now, Philadelphia Eagles fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Philadelphia Eagles. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Philadelphia Eagles news.